laid back and kicking it, let's head back to the studio. Here's Rod.
All right, welcome back to the program, everybody. For the overtime segment, it's just Dupes and me. Everybody is left, except for Connor, the intern.
Where are all my friends?
Soaking it all in. Well, Paul took Claremont and Abu downstairs. What are they doing down there?
Secret stuff.
Down on the lower levels of the building.
You know what? It's exciting, actually. New technology they're exploring in the R&D department downstairs.
Okay, good.
I'll tell you about it after the show. We'll tell the fans about it maybe in a week or two.
We'll just keep talking here because that's what we do, yakking it up on the old yak box. I'm going back and forth here. The biggest news in the CFL, and I am not overstating it by saying it has rocked the CFL. Andrew Harris has been suspended for 2 games following a positive drug test. The CFL announced it this morning that the drug is metandionone. I've never heard of it. I'm proud to say that I don't know these things. I'm not up on my banned substances. But in a statement, Harris said he was tested March 1st, July 2nd, and again July 12th. It was after the 3rd test that Harris added he was notified of the positive result. He's a 3-time All-Star, league's top Canadian in 2017. Said he never knowingly took a banned substance. And in his statement, he says, throughout my years playing here in Winnipeg, I have been drug tested more than any other player on our team to the point that it's become a running joke within our locker room. The timeline makes it very clear. I was not using a banned substance for performance-enhancing purposes, nor was I aware that I was taking any supplements with any banned substances in them. Based on the fact pattern, this is clearly a case of product contamination. To our Twitter poll, Samuel S. Chin, who is, I believe, an Ottawa CFL fan, says, I am totally shocked in disbelief. I've been watching him since his BC days. He had an amazing story growing up in adversity where I can identify. Put him down as a guy voting that, yes, it has tainted his legacy. That's what he's saying. I'm saying no, it hasn't tainted his legacy. That is our poll question today. For Capital Auto Mall, Universal Collision Center on both Twitter and our web poll, it's literally come out like 50-50. Does this taint Andrew Harris's legacy? Again, I say no, but I'm not overly shocked by anything anymore, nor are the 2 guys who were in here earlier, both Jason Claremont and Mike Abu-Meshrik. And I believe, Clark, you're going to want to go back to the 10:26 mark when Abu came on for the first time and said, oh, it's 2019. Guys are getting caught now.
Yeah.
With the technology being what it is. And I was actually shocked that Abu would be that straight up with it, saying they're getting caught. So he doesn't buy what Andrew Harris is saying. I'm not saying I buy it either. Pro football players take steroids. Breaking news.
Not.
Been in the league 20 years. What? We're surprised? But I still don't think it taints it. I mean, some guys get away with it, some guys don't. That's my take.
Yeah, and if the evidence or the facts that Andrew Harris has laid out, as he lays them out, doesn't automatically make them fact, but he was tested 3 times, and twice he wasn't. Nothing came up, and the 3rd time, trace elements of it did apparently. So if that's the case, then it clearly doesn't show that he's been doping for a long time, or that it's been used for performance-enhancing purposes, like he says. If he says that he didn't do it and he lays it out, I want to believe him. I tend to believe him. I have no reason not to believe him at this point. He seems like he's been an upstanding member of the CFL,
sure,
upstanding member of the community. There's nothing that Andrew Harris has done to make me think that he's a bad dude or I don't like that guy, and I wouldn't believe him. So I want to believe him. To me, it doesn't taint the legacy yet, but he did get tested positive, and if it's trace element or amounts of it, okay, that's cool. Move on and take your 2 games and do your thing. But from a league standpoint, if someone's using performance-enhancing drugs, 2 games, that's not a lot. It's pretty easy, pretty slop
that's
on the wrist.
But
that's the rules.
First offense.
I know we talked about the other thing we talked about early in the show was, in the NFL, they kind of cover some of this stuff up. They do until it gets to a positive drug test and suspension. Taylor Lewan of my Titans is going to serve a 4-game suspension for performance-enhancing drugs. Same situation. He wanted that B sample looked at again. He appealed it, but it came out late. I think the CFL's done a pretty good job here, because if Andrew Harris has already tested positive, he's already appealed it, and the B sample tested positive as well, so now they're upholding the suspension, and now it's only coming out. I think that's a good job by the CFL because it could have come out a long time ago before the first appeal.
Well, and people are writing in, it does seem a little confusing. Derek is saying, but his test 10 days before that was clean. So did he just buy a new product in that 10 days? It's a legitimate question, is it not?
Well, it is, and that goes to me with the trace elements of it. The little bit in the test, enough to create a positive test that, depending on what he's eating or how much he's drinking or what else he's putting in his body or how much he's working out and sweating and things like that, I think our hormone levels and our chemical balance goes up and down and fluctuates. I would assume. I'm not a doctor, and so if it's just a small amount, most days maybe it's not in there at all because he's not taking it, or it gets in and just happens on this test that it showed enough to flag a positive test.
The more I think about it, if you're Andrew Harris and in his statement he said he gets tested so much it's a joke in the locker room, then you're not going to be taking banned substances.
Of course not.
Because you know that next test is coming.
Can you imagine?
Something here doesn't add up, yet the CFL doesn't want to suspend one of their marquee players.
No.
and their leading rusher. So this is about integrity on the league's behalf. Clark has written in here, he says, people are asking about appeals. People have commented already that he's already appealed. The second sample also came back positive. Therefore, he's done. It's over. He's suspended. That's from Clark. So none of us are experts in this, but the CFL is. They use a highly sophisticated method of testing players. So we just kind of got to go with it. But the only thing is, so if he's going to miss these 2 games, what about the second half of the season? They're going to keep testing him?
Well, I think you have to.
Just kind of got to go with it. So bad news for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers here this morning. Other topics that I had written down, because this Andrew Harris stuff just hijacked our discussion this morning. Saskatoon. We get a lot of viewers in Saskatoon, as you know, and listeners. Somebody was writing in here about the buzz on the street today about the Rattlers. They won the Canadian Elite Basketball League Championship yesterday. Here it is from Sean Dahl. He says, with the Rattlers winning it all yesterday, I'm hearing a huge buzz around the city. Would be great if this results in a crowd increase next season. Go Rattlers. Well, if you know anything about sports marketing and selling tickets, they're going to have to start right back at zero next year. This was the first year of the league.
Yep.
Your people are just going to forget by next spring when the league starts again. That's all that it's going to be. But if anybody knows sports marketing, it's Lee Genier and his staff. They'll be fine. But what was the crowd yesterday? What was the
I don't know what
attendance?
I honestly don't know the announced attendance, but I mean, it was double what they had during the year. It was
so 7,000-8,000.
Yeah, I hope so. It was awesome. The crowd was great. It was loud. The atmosphere was like unbelievable. You would have thought the place was full. That's how cool it was in the last 30 seconds. It's fun. And the basketball is great. And the guys are good. Like Shaq Keith, the guy we saw.
He's my favorite, number 13.
Oh, yeah. He's flexing as he makes the basket, as he's coming down the sideline there. He's high-fiving people in the courtside seats. They love it. Negus Webster Chan was really good in the final. He pulled back for a shot, did the little dust-off because he had so much time, and then you got to make the shot when you do that. He did. The basketball is phenomenal. You've got guys who have played in some of the developmental leagues at the NBA, pro leagues overseas. They want to come here. And it's funny, I was chatting with Devin Haru. I actually brought him on our CBC broadcast during halftime. And the one thing he noticed in one of our conversations was that when you watch the players, he's like, I can tell when I watch the players on their faces, and you can tell this when you watch sports too, if this means something to them or not. And it meant something. They're invested in this league. It clearly meant something for them to be there and to win. It wasn't an all-star. It wasn't a charity thing. It wasn't an exhibition. It felt real.
Well, and that's why it's funny because I'm in Moncton for the weekend. I'm emceeing the golf tournament on Friday, and there's a prize package there from the Moncton Magic. And I said, who's the Moncton Magic? I know who the Wildcats are. That's the major junior hockey team. They said, it's a pro basketball team out here. I think it's the NEBL or something, or North American Basketball League. And there's 12 teams and this and this. And I'm thinking, well, it would be nice if they could merge or something, because Mike Morially's dream is that this is the CFL of basketball. So maybe one day will happen. But, we're talking about basketball out there in the Maritimes, and I'll just wrap this up because we're going off the air here to cap hour 2 of episode 60. But I did have a blast. Our business manager over there, Tyler, is from Halifax. I'd been out in the area. It's been about 20 years. It hasn't changed a ton. Where our daughter just moved to, it's somewhat remote. So I said Rexton. Do you know where that is? You said it's the north end of New Brunswick. Cell service is kind of spotty out there.
All right.
Right. But the people are fantastic. But I told you sat in this chair on Friday. I did the video thing with you. And there was a poll from the radio station, a poll saying, should the Maritimes have a CFL team? 57% said yes. That is not a whopping, resounding amount. And this is what I wanted to talk a lot more about today, but the Andrew Harris thing hijacked it. They thought the Argos and Alouettes coming to Moncton was a huge deal. The reporters said to Randy Ambrosi, we don't very often get 2 pro teams out here. In Saskatchewan, you hear it a lot. It's all we have. The Riders are all we have. And it's true. Out there, they don't have anything.
Right.
So it's a big deal to them. But the CFL doesn't have a brand in the region. Even for the Alouettes and Argos to come, they're not the local team.
No.
So it was a novelty, and the fans there had a great time, but it's not their team. So they got to do a lot of work out there with regards to getting the CFL imprinted in the conscience and in the brains of the people that live there, because they're just not CFL people. Why would they be?
Yeah.
Football's really big. They've got tremendous amateur football, but that community is really small.
Yep.
And I'm sitting there in the crowd at Moncton Stadium, which, by the way, do you know they don't even have a team? They have a beautiful stadium. It reminded me of Huskies, Griffith Stadium, but newer. Yeah. And I said, I'm walking around, who plays here? Nobody. What are you talking about?
Wild.
The University of Moncton doesn't have a football team? No. So I'm thinking, why couldn't they throw up the 10,000 temp stands, make it 21,000 seat facility, and have a CFL team here?
Yeah.
And they say that the region's not populated enough. New Brunswick alone only has 750,000 people. It needs to be in Halifax. So it's driving people crazy is the way that I'll go off the air. I'm talking about CFL people and the Schooners guys that they just want a team so bad, but it's just not coming as quick as they'd like. And I was sitting between the mayor and the premier at the supper I was hosting on the Friday night, the night I almost got my ass handed to me by those guys when I was doing the auction. And they said it's really hard to get stuff pushed through here. These are from the politicians.
Wow.
And I said, because you don't have any money? And they said, no, it's just mindset. There's money here. It's just that farming mindset that I have. You want to sit on your wallet and don't spend the money till the grain's in the bin, to quote Derek Myers. They're the same mindset.
Yeah. So you can sympathize.
I totally understand it.
Yeah.
But people need to be convinced that the CFL and the Maritimes is the best thing for the Maritimes. And right now, I don't think that message is being pounded home into people's heads.
You got to lower the risk for the people in their minds. And everybody talks about it. And it came up a couple of times over the weekend. Well, but you got to put the Riders out there. If you put the Riders in Touchdown Atlantic, the Prairie people will travel because they don't get to see the East Coast and Atlantic Canada. It'd be a great summer destination. It would be awesome. That's cool. It would be really great to put 2 of the marquee franchises out there. But those teams, when the Riders are on the road, they don't want to give up their gate. That is the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Those are big monies, big money games.
This is a conundrum for the CFL right now, and I saw it firsthand. And I don't know what the answer is. Clearly, I'm not that guy. It's not my responsibility. And the really smart guys haven't quite figured out how they're going to do it yet either. Craig in Regina, writing in on the Facebook wall, he was just out in Halifax for vacation. He says, I agree, it's not theirs. And in terms of teams in the CFL, especially in Halifax, it's more of an out of sight, out of mind. It needs to get there. And right now, there's no imprint. I didn't see any of it in the Maritimes for the CFL. No posters. I was talking to the game officials about that. There was just wasn't really advertised real well in the market. And whose responsibility is for that, I won't get into. Tomorrow on the show, Marshall Hamilton in hour 1, Troy Westwood, Darren Bombing from TSN Winnipeg on this Labor Day week. Wes Cates, sounds like he'll be in the bunker. Is that what I'm hearing? And Chris McKenzie, old C-Mac coming in, and Arash Madani. We should tell our listeners and viewers, Darren, about Saturday night, Libel Field. We got to tell people what's going on here.
Yes, rodpetersonshop.com if you want to grab tickets to support Regina Minor football and women's tackle football, the Regina Riot here locally in Regina. It's going to be fun. Guys like Jason Claremont, Chris McKenzie, I believe, is going to play too, and Mike Abametric and others, Neil Hughes. It's going to be so much fun. So it is a celebrity all-star touch football game at Libel Field Saturday night. Gates open at 5:30, and then the game will start. Full of great Rider alumni and full of local celebrities like the cast on this show will be out there trying to play football, but it'll be lots of fun. And we're going to raise a bunch of money for local football to grow the game.
Regina Minor football and Regina Riot.
Yeah.
Wes Cates, Neil Hughes, Noah Picton, as you said, Mike McCullough, Jason Claremont, Derek Myers, Kelly Rempel, yourself. Jim Hobson's going to be along as a coach. That's this Saturday night, Libel Field here in Regina, all part of Labor Day weekend festivities. That got it?
That's got it.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Glad to be back, and we'll see you tomorrow, 10 a.m. Mountain, right here on Facebook Live.
You're watching Rod Pedersen On Demand. For more of The Rod Pedersen Show, visit rodpedersen.com or follow Rod Pedersen on social media.